If you are seriously thinking about purchasing a house in certain American states this year, you may be setting yourself up for one of the most damaging financial mistakes of your entire life.
The difference between success and failure in real estate always comes down to data, not trends, not hype.
And the data I am studying right now is flashing bright red warning signals that too many people are ignoring while convincing themselves.
According to these numbers, there are 5 states where buying residential real estate right now is a terrible idea, no matter how attractive the house appears.
Not next month, not next year, and honestly, not even if someone pressured you aggressively, because parking capital there would be reckless financial behavior.
Before I explain which states are financial landmines, I want you to do something important if protecting your wealth and future actually matters to you. If you want real financial truth instead of comforting lies, hit the subscribe button right now and become part of a community that focuses on survival, not fantasies. Here, we deal in reality, facts, and data-driven decisions, not optimism fueled by real estate marketing slogans and social media hype.
Now let us establish one uncomfortable truth that most people refuse to accept because it contradicts everything they have been told since childhood.
A house is not automatically an investment, despite what your parents believe and despite what your real estate agent desperately wants you to believe. A primary residence is a place to live, not a wealth-building asset, and confusing those two ideas is how people quietly destroy their financial stability. Every single month, a house consumes your money through property taxes, insurance costs, maintenance expenses, repairs, and inevitable large replacement costs. Roofs fail, furnaces break, foundations crack, and none of those expenses increase your home's value, yet they relentlessly drain your cash flow.
Can real estate be an excellent investment? Absolutely yes. And I personally own properties across multiple regions and countries with strong fundamentals.
However, real estate only works when you buy in the right location during the right economic cycle, supported by strong demographic and financial indicators.
When you purchase a home, you are not just buying walls and a roof. You are buying into an entire economic system with long-term consequences.
You are buying into a tax structure, a regulatory framework, a labor market, a business climate, and most importantly,
migration patterns determine housing demand because people moving in create competition, while people moving out leave empty homes and falling prices. Where businesses relocate matters even more because jobs attract people, income supports mortgages, and capital follows opportunity, not loyalty.
That difference is not luck. It is discipline, emotional control, and the willingness to ignore popular narratives when the numbers disagree.
So why am I raising the alarm right now, instead of waiting quietly like many advisors prefer to do?
Because I am witnessing a growing economic split across the United States that is accelerating faster than most people realize. Some states are becoming economic powerhouses, while others are slowly turning into financial graveyards that trap homeowners for decades. Winning states share clear traits, including low taxes, business-friendly regulations, strong job creation, and consistent population growth. Losing states suffer from high taxes, hostile regulation, shrinking populations, corporate exits, and real estate markets heading towards serious declines. Then suddenly, prices crack, and instead of small corrections, values fall 30, 40, or even 50% in a short time. If you bought near the top, your equity disappears, your mortgage exceeds your home's value, and selling becomes nearly impossible. That is how people become trapped, unable to move, unable to refinance, and unable to recover financially for many years. This video exists to help you avoid becoming one of those trapped homeowners holding depreciating assets in dying markets.
My analysis starts with 5 core indicators that never lie when properly examined over long time periods.
First, I analyze migration data to see whether people are moving into a state or actively fleeing from it.
Negative migration means falling housing demand, and falling demand always leads to lower prices, regardless of how optimistic sellers remain.
I track business formation versus business exits because jobs are the oxygen that keeps housing markets alive. Third, I examine the tax environment because taxes are costs, and rising costs always reduce long-term investment appeal. Fourth, I review regulatory conditions, including how difficult it is to build housing or operate businesses profitably. Fifth, I analyze state and municipal debt levels, because unpaid obligations inevitably become future tax increases. When I apply these metrics together, 5 states consistently emerge as financial disasters for residential real estate buyers. Buying property there is not investing, it is destroying capital while hoping optimism will override reality. State number 1 is California, and before you react emotionally, understand that I have made significant money there myself. I respect California's innovation history, but buying a primary residence there today as a regular buyer is a serious mistake. Despite enormous tax revenue, residents receive deteriorating infrastructure, worsening homelessness, failing schools in many districts, and increasing wildfire risks. More importantly, California has experienced sustained negative domestic migration, meaning more Americans leave than move in each year. The middle class is exiting fastest because they cannot sustain the cost of living or regulatory pressure anymore. These families relocate to states like Texas, Florida, Tennessee, and Nevada, where their income stretches much further. Low inventory temporarily props prices up, but as migration continues, increasing supply will overwhelm weakening demand. What truly worries me is California's massive unfunded pension obligations that will eventually require even higher taxes. Higher taxes push more people out, shrinking the tax base further, creating a dangerous economic death spiral. If you own property inside that spiral, you go down with it, regardless of how beautiful the house looks. State number 2 is Illinois, which is not approaching fiscal disaster, but already living inside one. Illinois suffers from some of the highest property taxes in the country, often exceeding 3% annually. That means homeowners pay tens of thousands every year before even touching their mortgage payment. Population decline continues, businesses exit rapidly, and major corporations have already moved headquarters elsewhere. When billionaires and corporations abandon a state, individual homebuyers should pay close attention. New York City remains one of the most iconic cities in the world, but the broader economic reality of the state is deeply concerning. New York's tax structure is aggressive, with high state income taxes, local taxes, and constant policy changes that punish productivity and success. Regulations are suffocating, and the attitude toward business often feels hostile, discouraging entrepreneurs and employers from expanding or even staying. I personally moved my primary residence out of New York years ago because writing massive checks to inefficient government systems made no financial sense. I am far from alone because thousands of high earners have already relocated to Florida, Texas, and Tennessee. People follow tax policy, and capital follows people, which explains why money is leaving New York at an accelerating pace. The real estate market survives partly due to foreign buyers and rent-controlled housing, neither of which creates sustainable long-term demand. Remote work has permanently changed location priorities, removing the necessity to live near expensive urban centers with heavy tax burdens. As the tax base shrinks, the state will raise taxes further, pushing even more residents and businesses out. Suburban markets, outer boroughs, and upstate regions will feel the pain first as prices soften and demand continues declining. State number 4 is New Jersey, a state with the highest property taxes in the entire United States. New Jersey's geographic advantage between New York and Philadelphia should create prosperity, yet excessive taxation prevents sustainable growth. People increasingly relocate to Pennsylvania or southern states, seeking lower taxes and better long-term affordability. The only factor supporting New Jersey real estate is proximity to New York City, which is rapidly losing importance. Remote work eliminates the daily commute requirement, making New Jersey's tax burden impossible to justify for many professionals. Businesses operating in New Jersey frequently discuss exit strategies, planning moves south or west to survive competitively. When businesses leave, jobs disappear, demand collapses, and housing markets inevitably follow the economic decline. State number 5 is Connecticut, a textbook example of how decades of poor policy destroy once wealthy regions. Connecticut previously thrived on insurance, finance, and manufacturing, but relentless tax increases slowly pushed companies away. Major employers like General Electric and Aetna relocated, taking jobs, capital, and stability with them. Remote work eliminated the need to live near New York, destroying Connecticut's historical value proposition. Young graduates leave immediately due to limited career prospects, while wealthy retirees relocate to tax-friendly states. Housing prices remain elevated only because inventory is artificially low, not because demand is strong. Eventually, sellers will be forced to accept reality, flooding the market and collapsing prices simultaneously. I am not claiming these states will disappear, but they are poor choices for long-term capital preservation. Trends, fundamentals, and demographic forces are all working against residential buyers in these markets.
The numbers are screaming warnings that too many people refuse to hear. Now let us discuss where opportunity actually exists.
Smart investors look for states with positive migration, expanding job markets, and reasonable tax structures.
Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Arizona, and North Carolina currently exhibit these favorable characteristics.
These states attract businesses, talent, and capital because they encourage growth instead of punishing success. However, popularity drives prices higher, meaning buyers must remain disciplined and avoid emotional bidding. Timing matters, but strong fundamentals eventually support value even when buyers slightly overpay. A growing market forgives mistakes, while a shrinking market punishes even disciplined buyers. Higher rates can create opportunities by reducing competition, but only in healthy markets. You can refinance a high rate later, but you cannot fix a dying location.
A good property in a strong market performs well across interest rate cycles. A bad property in a weak market fails regardless of favorable loan conditions.
Treat home buying as a business decision, not an emotional milestone. You are committing large amounts of capital and assuming long-term financial risk. Analyze migration, employment, taxes, regulations, crime, schools, and infrastructure objectively. The market punishes emotional decisions every single time without mercy. If you already own property in one of these declining states, panic is unnecessary, planning is essential.
If relocation is possible, consider moving toward expanding economics, your income-generating objectives. If selling is impossible, ensure your broader financial plan does not rely on home appreciation. Landlords, cash flow. Hope is not a strategy in declining markets. America is undergoing a massive economic shift toward business-friendly, growth-oriented states.
This transformation is structural, not temporary, and will continue for decades. States welcoming enterprise and fiscal responsibility will thrive.
States punishing productivity will continue to lose people, capital, and relevance. You can ignore these trends, or you can adapt intelligently. Successful people accept uncomfortable truths and adjust before the crowd does. I share this information to help you avoid irreversible financial damage. If this analysis helped you think differently, share it with others considering real estate purchases. Subscribe, stay informed. The real estate market does not care about intentions, dreams, or loyalty. It rewards discipline and punishes denial. Protect your capital, make data-driven decisions, and position yourself where growth is inevitable. Your future self will thank you for acting wisely today.